I almost forgot, Patrick. Hey, YouTubers and friends, how you doing tonight? I myself is doing absolutely fabulous. I'm really excited. We have Mike Pung with us tonight, the inventor, co-inventor of the Gold Cube and the Banjo Pen. Now, some of you might know I was one of the 30 beta testers for the Banjo Pen, and I'm really proud of it. But give me a bit. We'll be right back after. Gee whiz, where is that? Oh, there it is. Be right back. Hey, YouTubers and friends. I'm always there.
Every day on the creeker beat, flashing your flame. Every day on the creeker beat, flashing your flame.
All right. I hope all of you are doing really well. I see John Wolf. Glad to see you, John. We've been worried about you down in Texas. I hope you're high and dry as much as you could be. Hello, Robert, Ronald, Angela, Mita. Hi, Mita. And David Bogan, Patrick Moore, and whoever else is in the house. I don't see my boy, though. Thomas Fowlkes, how are you doing? And thank you all very much. I'm going to get my partner in crime, ToledoJess, in with us right now. And here soon we'll pull in our guest, our special guest. How you doing, Jesse?
Oh, okay. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, pretty good. Kind of excited.
Okay.
I'm nervous. I'm excited.
You're always nervous before a show. Get over it.
Yeah, it's easier said than done, you know. I got to play engineer and everything, you know. And then the
Hey.
work don't stop when we're done having a great conversation with whoever our guests may be. And tonight we have a real special guest, Mike.
Yeah, I know. I heard.
Yeah, Mike Pung, great sense of humor, really good guy. You remember you met him at
Yeah, I
the
met him at
Dayton show last
right.
year,
Correct.
and I'm
Correct.
sure he'll be at India. Of course, he'll be at Indianapolis show. I he'll be a featured speaker there. I shared a link about that just the other day. Well, why don't we bring him in? Do you have anything
Bring
you
him
want to
in.
talk about
Nah, not me,
besides
y'all.
Gold Rush,
Nah.
or we could wait on Gold Rush?
We'll wait on Gold Rush.
Uh,
We'll wait.
all right, all right. Well, quick shout out. Hey, everybody, this coming weekend, Labor Day weekend, Gold Rush days at the beautiful Swank West property of the GPAA and home of the Buckeye chapter of the GPAA. So, with no further ado, let's welcome Mr. Mike Pung into the house. How are you doing tonight, Michael?
Oh, fantastic. In the house.
Hey,
In the
Mike.
house.
Michael in the house.
Yeah, good to be here, Ed.
Oh, I'm glad he was able to talk you into this. You know.
Yeah,
I know. We talked before at the Dayton Gold Show a little bit. You were busy. We were busy. Everybody was busy, so we didn't get a real.
When you're getting shows ready, it's full speed ahead. There's not a whole lot of time to visit and play and all that other stuff. You're there for a job, and just kind of like Ed today, he's all nervous trying to get everything worked around and
right.
Get everything
we were there
engineered for this.
Yeah, we were there for the Dayton show to help set up. You know, I think we put out a video on it on the setup of the show. That was a lot of fun. It was fun meeting you and all the people that put on the GPA show. That was a great time. If you ever been to a GPA Gold show, You need to go check one out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got one coming up in the end of October. Right?
Yeah,
October
22nd, I believe
Right.
it is, at the Indianapolis Fairground.
You'll be there, right, Mike?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's going to be a blast. The 21st and the 22nd, that Saturday and Sunday. It's
Right.
I'll be there. I'm pretty sure that the booth that I'm going to be hanging out with is going to be the Martin Prospecting. He's coming in from North Carolina,
Oh,
and
cool.
yeah, I'll be hanging out there. He's got a lot of good equipment. So shout out to Todd Martin. And
Well, that's where you hung out last year too, wasn't it? At Dayton.
Yep, that is correct. And we'll be doing a bunch of demonstrations, the Banjo Pan, and doing the demonstrations of the Gold Cube. And it was it was kind of funny, my friend.
I just watched that
Curtis.
video you put out.
Yeah.
You and Red.
Oh yeah. We did the Banjo Pan demonstration in Colorado. Made a video of it doing a production mode.
Right.
Instead of shaking a little dirt and then cleaning it out and looking for the gold, we just start pouring the, like, one guy in the shovel, and then I was on the Banjo Pan. We'd concentrate it down, and then we'd swish it into a bucket of water.
Get it down to your concentrates and get some more.
Yeah, that's right. Our goal was to make concentrates, not to look at gold.
Right, exactly. Not find the gold right there. Well, I mean, find the gold, but not see it right yet.
Oh yeah,
Wait,
verify that you're in the gold, and then
Correct.
then it's just back pockets and elbows.
Right. Well, and that's the cool thing about especially a lot of different equipment is most of us, when we buy a piece of equipment, we either revamp it or figure out another way to use it. Like take your banjo pan. You look at it one way, you give it to Ed, and what does he do with it? He makes a cleanup solution with it. You know what I'm saying? And then,
This is one of my favorite Frankensteins of the Banjo Pan.
Yeah, and then you look at it again, and you show, well, not only can you go out and prospect with it, but hell, you can even mine with it. Do production with it. So it's really cool. That's the cool thing about different equipment. Some of the equipment we use, we got to do one particular thing, right? But then me and Ed look at it, we go, you know what? If we did this and this, we could do that. You go, right. Right. Let's try it. And
it's all about
that works.
Yeah, it's all about recognizing the situation and the need, and really that's all inventing is, and it's just looking at things a different way. I mean, when you're doing an invention, you're basically trying to do a couple of things. You're either trying to make it easier, you're trying to make it faster, or you're trying to make it more fun. And and some cool things happen when you start looking at it with not accepting the way it is.
Yeah, you got to look at different, like they say, out of the box, whatever that means. But
hey, we want all of our gold needs to be in the box. We don't want to do any catch and release. We're taking it in the box.
Gotcha.
Well,
but,
this ain't a hobby like fishing. We don't catch and release.
Right.
I don't do catch and release when I'm fishing, because by the time I catch a fish, I'm usually pretty darn hungry.
Yeah, you've waited long enough. Time to eat.
Yeah, no kidding. But but it's a lot of fun out there. There's some places that all you can do is hands and pans, or a shovel, or hand and pan.
Right.
You can't run any equipment, and if you're not running dirt, if you're not going through the material, your gold count's going to be a lot less. And you see it in the video with Red and I when we were doing that the production mode of the Japan. We were just about going as fast as you would normally put into a gold cube. So
one thing I noticed, you guys were keeping up with your talk, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
For as much talking as you were doing, you were doing quite
Red
a bit of work.
wasn't keeping up with Mike at all. Mike had that in the bucket, and come on, Red, need another shovel load.
And you know what's really funny? There was two things that was fighting against me. Number one, my belly was choking off my diaphragm for breathing, and we were at 9,000 feet, and there wasn't much oxygen anyway. I don't know if I could have gone much longer.
Well, here, I'm going to help you out there. I'm gonna help you fix that situation. Okay, get yourself one of those metal folding chairs like you see in offices and stuff, or in banquet halls. Get one of those and take those out there where you sit there and let him shovel, and you can just sit there and do your cleanup and not be bent over. You can be sitting down doing it.
Yeah. Well,
they're light. Ed,
okay.
I carry one with me all the time.
Well, the other thing is we've already got buckets laying around. We could have turned a bucket upside down.
There you go. You could have done that too.
Funny. Us prospectors and miners, when we talk about our bucket list, it includes where we're going to take our bucket.
Right. So that's that was a cool video. I watched it. I watch your videos.
There's a bunch of little gold in that thing.
Did you? Yeah, I've been watching your videos for a while since I got started, like about 5 years ago or so, 6. I've been watching your progression with the Gold Cube, and I always liked that idea what you were talking about with driving the gold down underwater. Because it's heavy. It's where you want it.
Yeah, gold hates water. We always find gold in water and everything, but gold hates water. Yeah, it loves oil.
Hydrophobic, isn't it?
Hydrophobic, yeah. Or aquaphobic.
Yeah, aquaphobic, hydrophobic.
Yeah. So that's the problem.
It's phobic.
Yeah. It's and it's paranoid too. It likes to hide.
Yeah.
But it's
no one's after me. No one's trying to get me. I'm fine.
Yeah. Can't be. I'm fine under this rock in this crypt. Yeah. So if you can get gold underwater, it quits acting like a boat and acts heavy like gold, like it's supposed to. Then you get it where it belongs. You can have the expected results that you're after, which is taking it home.
Right. That's what you want to do. You want to take just gold home with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to stock up for the winter time, but most of the time I'd rather just take the gold and not a lot of excess material.
Yeah, I like leaving the creek at the creek.
Yeah, I hear you. Although right now my wife wants me to bring stuff to do this where it used to be a flower bed. She wants now a rock garden with all the pretty rocks.
Yeah, call them PBRs, pretty beach rocks.
Yeah. So I guess I'll be bringing rocks home.
No matter how many of those Indian sex rocks I find, if they're pretty, I seem to bring them home.
That's right. Yeah, and the ones that don't make the cut, those are the leverites, right?
Yep, those are the ones. Yeah, plenty of those.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So what was your driving idea for the cube? Like I said, I watched the development of it and some of the crazy stuff you did trying to figure it out. Well, I'm sure.
I had heard that there was gold up on Lake Superior, and
right, the beach sands. That's right.
Yeah, the beach sands, and me and another friend of mine, Curtis George, and his family, we were planning a trip to Colorado, and we were all going to sleep in one camper, and so we had a test night still in Michigan. So we went up to Muskelon's Lake State Park up there, and I was looking at doing some research and seeing what direction the glaciers came in, and looking at gold fields in Canada, and just kind of figuring out where the gold should be. And I had a 26-mile area that I thought, if there's gold, that's where it's going to be. Well, right in the middle of that was Muskelon's Lake State Park. So we were going to go 13 miles one way and test, and go 13 miles the other way and test on the next day. And but as it worked out, we went down to the bottom of the stairs, and it was a bullseye. It was because there are 60 stairs going down from us down to Lake Superior. And
I saw the videos, Mike. I remember that staircase. Oh my God.
oh yeah. Yeah, and whenever we go mining down there, we've got all of our stuff on two-wheel carts, and we're having to going down is easy.
Yeah, throw it, let it go.
But on the way back up, man, you've got concentrates, you've got most of your butt still down on the beach because it's tired.
Right.
Oh, I can imagine.
Then left in your hole.
Yeah, but yeah, we found gold right at the bottom of the stairs, and the farther we got away from the stairs, the worse the gold got. So it was a one
the
of
cows
those.
come home.
Yeah, yeah. So we had to, we set up and we went up to talk to the park ranger, and doggone it.
Hello.
Yeah, no kidding. But we talked to the park ranger, and we asked him, can we use my high banker? I had a Keen high banker along with me.
Right.
I asked him, can I use that high banker on the beach? And they said, well, I don't know. And I said, well, can I use it until you find out? And if I need to quit, I'll quit. Because we were pulling anywhere from 15 to 20 pieces of gold per pan. And so we wanted to get some material ran. So we hauled it down to the bottom of the stairs and set it up. And I actually used a gasoline engine. And because
you didn't tell them about that, did you?
Oh, I did. I told them what I was going to do, but then they came down for about an hour and they said, well, we can't let you do this. We talked to the Fish and Game, and we talked to the Corps of Engineers who was in charge of the water, and we can't let you do it. And I said, okay, we'll quit. So we did a cleanup because we'd run in that hour. We ran about 20 buckets. And so we did a cleanup, and in that whole cleanup, there's only about maybe 200 pieces. We should have had like 200 million pieces. But that proved to me that that gold that was on that beach was harder than anything I've ever experienced. And I had to figure out how to capture that gold. And the problem was, everybody says gold is so heavy, it's going to be the first thing to drop out. Well, that's not true. And the reason it's not true is not only do we consider the weight of a material, we also have to consider the shape of the material. Like if you're standing in a swimming pool and you've got a 1 ounce ball bearing and you have a 1 ounce sheet of aluminum, and you drop them in the pool, which one's going to hit the bottom of the pool first? Right. It's the ball bearing, because it's aerodynamic. It's going to go right through. It's not going to flutter. It's not going to do anything. It's boom, it's down. Well, the problem with the gold that was on the beach is it's all been hammered by rocks. All the black sands are perfectly round, and all the gold is extremely flat. It's like 20 times wider than it is thin. So, it flutters, and it has a long time before it can actually, reach the bottom. So you have to do a lot of things on purpose and quit leaving it to chance. Because like in a sluice box with a riffle and stuff like that, everything comes in at the top of the water, and it has to find its way down to the mat. And by the time it finds its to the bottom, the ride is over and it's gone. It's out the back end. Right. So we had to change the rules a little bit. So number one, we had to get it underwater quick, and that's the G4 separator. And number two, we had to get it aligned to the mat to where it's not trying to find its way through the water. So that's where the centrifugal force, that rounding of the G4 separator, throws the gold to the outside edge, making small gold heavier and forcing it to the edge. And then the only eddy in the entire system pulls it right in front of the mat. Now it has to It has to only slide into the mat. It doesn't have to drift through the water trying to find a place to catch. So we took a lot of chance out of it. And then just like quicksand, I learned it from a Tarzan movie. Just like quicksand, you know, when the gold gets to the bottom, you know, it's going to sit there and it can't come back up again, because now it's going to act without all the water flow and everything. It's going to act like the weight, the heaviness that mineral is, and it will outweigh the black sand. So it's not relying on the force of the water. Now it's just relying on pure gravity. So it can stay put. So that's why we don't lose as much gold in the gold cube, because of the vortex burying the gold out. So vortexes are, or vortices are a great new addition to the mining industry, where the eddies behind the riffle, it's great technology for bigger gold, but not so much for smaller gold.
Well, that's you know, when you talk about vortices, you know, I always think about one of the things that I learned is when you go read a river or a stream or a creek, you do it when it's at high water flow, so that you can look for those vortices and vortexes and eddies, because with those whirlpools, because that's kind of where they tell you that gold will drop out in those spots. It'll be forced to the bottom.
Right. Yeah, and if you don't have the opportunity to get out during high water, you just have to stand up a little bit and take a look at the river and imagine the water is way up at the top. Because, you know, the river at its low stage may be bending to the right, but all the river walls in that particular place may be bending to the left. So in high water, it's going to deposit things differently than it is in low water. So you got to pay attention to, like, the 100-year flood, the 20-year flood, and the low water mark, and read the river accordingly, because some of your best gold may be really, really high up the bank, because that's where the 100-year flood was moving the best gold.
And that's here, and that's the problem here, in Ohio. That's something that, as a person in Ohio looking for gold, they don't really have a whole lot of opportunity to get up on those benches, because they're private property and people don't like you digging on their lawns and woods and stuff. So we're pretty much stuck to in the creeks,
right?
Unless you own the property and you happen to know that there used to be an ancient channel 3 feet underneath your feet that's got a creek. Then I'm digging my yard for sure, but yeah, right. But other than that, I'm pretty much stuck in what's happening right now, and that's the creeks and rivers of Ohio, and other places. Especially, I know you're from out west, and when you talk about that, you talk with your experience of being out west.
Well, I'm in Oklahoma, so
okay, you're stuck in the middle.
Yeah, I'm stuck. So I've got to gather experience from wherever I end up, wherever I've thrown my pan. That's where I got to pull some experience.
Right.
Well,
so
it's a good thing you're not all that far away from Colorado, which has some really good gold.
Yeah, well, there's gold here in Oklahoma too. I've gotten gold.
Oh, yeah.
Every river in Oklahoma, and people look at me like I'm crazy, and I said, "Well, yeah, you're right. You're looking
Absolutely.
at me right."
We're all crazy.
We get that here. There's gold in Ohio.
We get that here.
Okay,
and you get glacial gold too, right? Is that what you're getting?
Yeah.
Glacial gold.
But we've also got like here in Oklahoma, the Arbuckles and the Wichita Mountains. Right now, they're just a little over 2,000 feet, but they used to be over 27,000 feet tall.
Wow.
So they're some of the oldest mountains in the area, but they've all disintegrated, and
rotted. Like the Appalachians here used to be over 10,000, and now they're only a few thousand. So.
Yeah, and so I mean, there's a lot of oil well drillers that when they're drilling down, they'll get one of their bits clogged up with a big chunk of gold.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
Yeah, But you know, the gold is here. The problem is there's so much surface material that's covered it up that it's way down underneath. So it's um, you know, gold is where you find it, and where it's not, there am I, right?
I love that saying myself. Gold is where you find
Yeah, yeah. It's and if you're looking, then you'll find it. Most people don't find it on by accident. You have to go out and actually plan on looking for it and plan on having it. So make sure you always got to go
you know,
fan.
do some research before you go out too. You know, you got to learn what you're trying to do.
it. Or take a kid with you because it seems like they're the only ones that find it by accident.
Right, because they got good eyes and they're built closer to the ground. That or else, if you don't have a kid, just fall down a lot. It'll put your eyes closer to the ground.
I do that already.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun though. One of the things that I like doing, especially like when you're out looking for gold, is Google Earth. I love Google Earth because you know they got the history button. You can see where the history of the river's been and high marks and low marks. But it also, one of the coolest things about it is if you back off just a little bit, you can see where the river used to be years and years ago. I mean, it'll leave scars in the land. And
yeah, right. I've noticed that too. That if you know, some depending on how high you're looking from, you can get more detail of what the actual area looked like. Then when you get down close, you can really get a closer look at what you're looking at. Oh, yeah, I use that all the time. Oh, and I love the history on it because, like I was telling you earlier, I got a spot where I can look at the river and see all the cracks in the bedrock at certain times of year because the water is low enough, and they flew over and got a picture. That's a real good use for that, and even for people with that do metal detecting, that's also a really good thing because they can see where buildings have been in the past.
Old foundations, right?
Right, you know. And there's actually a few other sites out there that give people that ability. There's Architectural Aerial, I think, is another one that takes you back even further, where mostly, I mean, you can use it for rivers and streams like that also. But I think most people that do metal detecting find that one useful because it shows you where buildings used to be.
Right.
You know, you can look at a cornfield right now and not realize that there actually used to be a town there. You know,
Yeah.
And not know it.
Yeah, it could have been just an old train stop or a lumber yard or whatever.
Yep, there's some shacks there and whatever. You know, yeah. So there's a lot of sites out there, and really, it's what happens when you research a lot. You find those strange places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're going to go out for strange, let it be strange information.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have to agree with both of you. Google Earth is an excellent tool for any prospector.
Oh, yeah.
I love technology, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's available. You got to use it. I mean, it's as much of a tool as a shovel or a sluice box. You know?
Oh, absolutely. Of course, unless it's not working. You know, like anything else, if it's not working, and you know, so we got to rub two sticks together to figure out what we're doing.
Yeah, rub two sticks together and go get your gold sniffing dog.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had a trip to the Pacific Northwest just last month, or was it earlier this month, Mike? With David Urich, Columbia River.
That was this spring. We went up to Cape Disappointment, and we had a couple of days of some nice beach mining up there. Had a blast. I mean, that gold's teeny. But it's easier to catch than the Lake Superior gold, believe it or not. It's a little bit smaller for the most part, but it's got a better shape to it.
So it's not apt to float as much on surface
Oh,
tension and whatnot as.
It'll float, but
Huh.
it'll fall through the water a little faster.
Right. Yeah, we have a couple of, well, I know at least one Washingtonian is in the house right now. He's actually from Vancouver area. Oh, we have two Washingtonians in our chat room right now, so they probably know exactly where you are.
Oh yeah, right there at the campground at Cape Disappointment.
Terry,
David Urich out there.
Terry
Yeah,
Baker says, I don't know about that history button. Good info here. Well, that history button is up on the top toolbar. It's a clock. Pressing that clock and you'll get another little toolbar underneath it. And you can scroll up and down it, and it gives you pictures of previous pictures throughout the years. So that was Terry Baker was wondering about that. I think he was asking it, or was he just going, he don't like it, he'd rather listen to our show.
yeah. Just use that history button and look at your house and see what vehicle you had at the time.
Or what? Oh, I remember that pool. Oh yeah.
It's funny what
That's
you can find on Google Earth, though.
Yeah, they've found some strange photos on Google Earth over the years, here and there.
I actually found my dredge hole with my dredge in it at Joe's on Google Earth. Jesse.
Yeah, speaking of Google Earth and all that, I actually watch a program on the Science Channel called "What on Earth," and that's what it's about. It's about the different things that they get pictures of from satellites. Pretty strange stuff. They've been able to find old ruins and stuff with it, so that's pretty cool too. Pretty cool show.
Yeah. The other fun thing is when you get into Street View. You see some funny things on Street View too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, but all that aside, it's still a really good tool because now well, where did they say that turn was, and you get down street level and actually find that building or find that shopping center, So it's really easy to stalk people.
Yeah.
Just kidding, folks. Just kidding. Don't want anybody to get excited.
It says that as a disclaimer, but I think be afraid. Be very afraid. Hey, while we're out in Colorado this time with Red, we're working on another device to attach to the gold banker and the trommel. And we're calling it an exit sluice. And so everything that comes off of the trommel and the gold banker is actually going to have a way to capture the coarse gold, the nuggets and pickers.
Right.
And make it to where you don't have to spend all your time scanning your large tails with a metal detector. So we're pretty excited about that. We developed a new riffle, actually. We're still testing it, so I'm not going to say much about it, but it'll be part of the new box. It'll attach right to the stand, right to the gold cube. It's just a set in place, nothing extra to do except set up the stand to hold the box, but it attaches right to the existing gold cube stand. So that was a lot of fun doing that.
Well, you'll have to let us in on that.
Yeah. I don't know exactly when it's going to be.
We're always willing to test new products out.
Ever need any beta testers? I've done one for you before. Be no problem to do it again.
Yeah, Ed was one of our one of 30 beta testers for the banjo pan.
Very proud of it too, Mike.
I was jealous.
Dennis Dayton was too, I believe.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he sure was.
He was in here in the chat room a minute ago.
Was
no, I think he wanted the banjo pan to be purple.
I can believe. Yes.
Yes, he's a purple guy.
I'm happy with my blue and my autographed beta pan. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the purple pirate.
The purple pirate. He's a pirate, all right. I think it's something, but I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
David Bogan says he likes his banjo pan too.
Now, one of the things that I'm going to do sometime this fall is I'm going to be taking the banjo pan completely submerged underwater. I've taken it underwater and I've panned completely submerged underwater, but I've never videotaped it. When I was doing it, it really didn't have good water clarity, so I want to videotape it panning completely submerged. So, like for a dredger down, 10, 15 feet underwater, if he just wants to test something without moving everything over, he can test the banjo pan underwater. There's not very many pans out there that you can actually pan underwater with, so I'm pretty proud of that. That was kind of a happy accident. I just couldn't believe it actually worked.
Well, when you think about it, you're still doing the same thing, but you're doing it underwater.
Yeah.
As far as moving your material away from your gold, and your gold being heavy and staying down, as long as you're, I don't know. Do you have to be gentle with it? More gentle?
No, you got to turn on the beast.
Oh yeah. That's good. Because that just means you don't have to be as careful. You're not going to lose your gold. Because I'm only human. I don't do things right. I found out recently I'm like the worst painter in the world. Holy cow! Oh, dude. I mean, with a regular paint, I thought I was doing good, right? Yeah. I thought I was doing good. Saving all my black sands, saving them all. I'm catching all the gold out of there, and I'm saving all my black sands. Well, I actually come over and we ran all that stuff, and I'm going, what? I missed all that because that was all panned. Black sands. I missed all that panning.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I'm just the worst panner, so I got to find something that helps me out.
Well, the banjo pan's an excellent pan, and it makes an awesome cleanup sluice.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, in fact, I've actually seen the banjo pan with a salsa dip bowl in the middle of it with chips around it.
Nice.
Multi-purpose tool.
Yeah. But
when you're done panning, you can eat. Yeah.
That's it. Well, back underwater again, the way that it works underwater is you hold it and you got your material into the pan area like normal, and you get it shaking back and forth like opening and closing a sock drawer,
Mm-hmm.
and you start tipping it a little bit, and then you pick it up through the water, because as you pick it up, the pan is going to gather the most amount of water, and the point of least resistance is out the neck. Okay, so as you're picking it up through the water, you're creating that flow and that difference in pressures to process your lighter material off.
Right.
So that's how it's used underwater. So it's forwards and back, shaking and picking up at the same time. Then you settle it back down and pick it up and shake at the same time, and that's going to get rid of a lot of material and pack your gold in the mat.
So you're pulling the sock drawer open and closed.
Yep.
And you're lifting the dresser up and down at the same time.
Yeah, because you're a beast.
I'm a beast. So so what you're saying is as you're going up with the banjo pan, the water's being forced down and through the slot in front of the or your sluice, right? It's being forced out in
Right,
front there.
the neck,
Okay.
the neck of the banjo. We don't want to call it a sluice because there's some places that don't allow sluices. It's a pan.
The neck of the banjo. Excuse me.
Yeah, there you go.
I got it. It flows out the water pressure pushing down on the body of the banjo is pushing the water along the neck of the banjo.
Right, that's the point of least resistance. So that's
Correct.
where the was going to be.
Gotcha.
And that was kind of a happy accident, and but that it actually works real well. In fact, I gave a couple of them to Sean and Steve Pomrenke up there in the Bering Sea, and they told me it worked. And I told them, I said, I'm going to give you these to you for free. You got to give me a video. Well, they've never given me a video. They just say it works. It's like,
bastards.
Fine, say it works. So yeah, it'll be fun to finally get the first video out there of this thing working, because it's kind of cool. And then when it's time to pan out your cons underwater, you hold it, you hold the neck with your hand pushed all the way into the pan. So your hand is kind of centered. Your one hand is centered, and you got your pan in right at that convergence between neck and pan. You're holding it there. So you tip it back to you just a little bit, and you tap the pan, and that whole pan will actually torque. You know, it'll torque counterclockwise. So as it's torquing, that makes the gold crawl out of the dirt, and you'll actually see the gold start exposing itself. And when we're
Okay.
panning,
You got a video of this, right?
no, that's what I'm
No,
saying.
he's gonna make a video of it.
What?
Jesse.
You need to have a video of this real soon. Chop.
Yeah, right now.
Because I'm confused. I'm confused when you talk about when you do that. It torques, so I'm not seeing it in my head.
Tapping like you would normally tap the pan and holding on to it on the neck, it'll make the whole pan twist.
Okay.
And that twisting action actually allows the gold to start walking out. Now, when you're using the banjo pan, or when you're prospecting, all you're trying to do is answer two questions as quickly as possible. The number one is there any gold here? And the second question is it any better than the last place I checked? And that's what the banjo pan excels in. It will get you an answer quickly of, is there gold, and how good is it? And then you can actually decide at that point which machine you're going to set up to use.
Right.
So if all your stuff is 20 mesh and smaller, you're going to want to really concentrate on that small gold. So you're not going to go in there with a huge machine, because you're going to end up losing most of your gold. But if a lot of your machine, or a lot of your gold is 20 mesh and bigger, and small pickers and flakes and stuff, hey, more dirt, more gold. You can pull a Hoffman on them and get as much dirt through.
I'm running 1,000,000 yards today.
Mike, Dan Zoller has a question about the neck. With the neck facing away from you, or neck pointing at you?
Side to side. I have I hold on to the banjo pan with my left hand. I have the neck going straight to my left, and then I have the pan is directly to the right of my hand that I'm holding on to the neck. So
okay, you have your left on forearm down the sluice part of the pan to the neck, right?
Pretty much, yeah. So, you know, if I'm using it as a gun, it'd be pointing away from me. But so just turn it 90 degrees and go side to side. So I'm looking at the mat of the neck as it is at its longest. I'm looking at the longest of it is left to right.
Okay. I hope that answers your question. When you're tapping, he's asking. When you're tapping.
Yeah, when I'm tapping, it's facing directly to my left, straight off to the left, and when I'm tapping it, I'm tapping it as if it's a normal pan. I always tap at the top of the pan, so that's where I'm tapping.
Okay.
So it's farthest away from me.
Hope that answered your question, Dan. Now,
Uh, is one guy says, how does the banjo pan compare to the Gold Hog pan? About 20 pounds lighter.
yeah, I could imagine. I
Yeah,
hear it's a heavy pan. I don't know, David. I've
it's
never used the Gold Hog pan.
yeah, it's a good pan. You can go through a lot of material, but as far as mobility goes, the banjo pan, you can put it in your backpack. You can put it on a carabiner on your side. It's a lot more versatile. And I've
Eh,
never used the hog pan, but I've seen it used in videos, and it looks like a pretty good pan. It's just bigger.
Yeah, it seems like more for moving a lot of material for sampling too. But then again, so is your banjo pan. But David, you can't use the Gold Hog pan as the cleanup sluice in your shop when you have frozen water outside.
Yeah, that's the Gold Hog pan is more for gravel. You know, it's for the gravel bars and stuff. So that's a difference too.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
It's a handful. It's a big handful, and so like a child wouldn't be able to use it.
No.
So it's you gotta have some strength to use it for very long anyway. Of course, that banjo pan about wore me out.
no, it looked
Yeah, well,
like you were
when you're
working it real good in that latest video of yours.
Yeah,
Mike.
I was faking it.
there was probably a lot of editing going on there too.
Yeah, because well, when we filmed that, I think the video ended up being about 8 minute video, but we probably were working that thing for about 20-25 minutes.
Oh yeah.
So, and that's up at 9,000 feet, and they just don't. They didn't order enough oxygen for that area.
Now, is that on public land? I mean, well, not. Is it open to the public for prospecting, like Cache Creek, or is it on Red's claim?
Well, that place where we were, it's a like a neighborhood association. That's one of their parks, so it was open to the public of that neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
So they got, like, we talk about neighborhoods in the cities, and we got line after line of houses. The neighborhoods out there where Red is, your nearest neighbor is about a mile away. So there's like a 600-acre area is one neighborhood. so they're really spread out up there.
Is that actually in Red's neighborhood then?
Well, like we said in the video, it's a secret location, and we can't.
Yeah, I can understand. No Tellum Creek, so
Yeah.
I definitely understand. I was hoping I could have talked Red into being on the show with you tonight, but that's all right. I believe I'm having a friend of yours on from Gold Strike Adventures on October 10th, though, Mr. Don Finley.
I got a friend.
Oh, you have lots of friends, Mike. I've seen them.
Yeah, I've seen a few of his friends too. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's you tell everybody you got to be the friend of the friend that you want to be, so or want to have. So if you're being a jerk, then you're not gonna get anybody but jerks. But if you're being friendly and what goes around comes around type of karma, then I think I've got a pretty blessed life.
No truer words were said. Yes,
that's right.
I agree. The golden rule.
Oh no!
Who has the most gold makes the rules.
Okay, the other golden rule.
Oh, like if everything in your pan's the same size, gold rules.
Right. Yeah.
I guess it's the other golden.
Yeah, it's like at the gold shows. I do the fine gold recovery seminars, and I tell people about the golden rule and the importance of classification. If everything in your machine or your pan is the same size, then gold is the heaviest, so gold rules. So I call that the golden rule. And so that's one of the things I teach on there. In fact, on our website, goldcube.net, if you go into the video section under Gold Cube University,
the Fine Gold Recovery Challenge.
Yep, that's it.
That's a good series, Mike.
Thank you. But yeah, Red challenged me to a pan off, I guess. We had 2 grams of gold that we put in there. We ended up getting 2.2 grams out of it.
Nothing like a plus, huh?
Yeah, nothing like a little stray gold. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Ed.
Go
No. Don't listen to Dennis. I'm gonna have to get off of here. My phone is dying. Yeah. Well, when I unplug
Plug it in.
I can't. Told you I got a new phone. The same cord where I plug in for my headphones is what I use for charging. This sucks.
Oh yeah. Well, you
I need
have
some
a
kind
laptop next to you, don't you?
Yeah.
Hurry up.
But I won't be on Skype. Well, yeah, I can. Wait a minute.
You can get on Skype with your phone, can't you?
I'm on Skype with my phone.
Right. So.
Let me hang on here. Go ahead, keep talking. Don't mind me.
Ourselves.
Yeah, talk to yourselves. I'll be around here. I'll be around here somewhere. So if I cut off, I'll be right back in. Just bring me back in when you
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll live entertainment for you.
Yeah.
Huh?
Beam me back in here as soon as you see me again. See you in a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, but with the golden rule, everything in your pan's the same size. It all has to do with classification, and the key with classification is the getting the smallest piece of gold to outweigh your largest piece of garbage. So what I teach everybody is, as long as your classification size, like if we started with an 8, you go 8 times 2 is 16. So don't go any bigger than times 2. So 16 times 2 is 32, but you can use a 30. 30 times 2 is 60. We'll use a 50. Just don't exceed your times 2, and you'll achieve that the weight and size advantage to where whatever cleanup method that you want to use is actually going to work extremely well. Whether it's the Miller table, the gold pan, the spiral wheel, whatever you're going to be using to clean up your gold, it'll work a lot better if you give yourself the advantage of size. And then the magnetite, removing the magnetics, give yourself the advantage of the weight by taking out the middle weight.
Right.
You got to remember to pick it up and drop, pick it up, drop, pick it up, drop. And that way, I call it the monkey fist, the monkey claw, the crane game, that, the magnetite is all trying to stick to itself, and it may pick up a piece of gold or blonde sand or something in the same one. But when it's doing that, you can transfer gold out of where you're trying to retain the gold and lose it, or misplace it. So Pick it up and drop, it'll allow that gold to set down, which is kind of like this new device. It's only been on the market a couple of years now. It's David Urich from Columbia River Mining Supply.
Oh yeah, gold spin it off.
Let's spin it off. That's right. That spin it off. Basically, what it's doing is instead of the top and the bottom of the magnet being north and south, the side to side is north and south. It's a special made magnet, and every time you subject magnetite to a magnet, it actually becomes polarized. It actually becomes a magnet within itself. It doesn't stay for a long time, but it'll stay for a while. It'll stay slightly magnetic.
Right.
So then when the other pole from north to south, so when south comes around, now the magnetite says, oh, opposites attract and like poles will repel. It's going to take everything that's there and flip it over. So now if you've got gold in there, it's going to flip. And then by the time it does that, the magnet comes around again and flips it again. So it's constantly fluttering and flipping your magnetite. So it makes it to where the gold and the non-magnetic sands are able to be dropped away from that whole pickup of the magnetite. So that's what the golden sand, not golden sand. That's what the spin it off actually does. It flutters the black sand to release the non-magnetics, so you can have a more accurate removal of the black sands. So once the black sands are actually pulled out, then you can use your blue bowl, spiral wheel, Miller table, whatever. Or your pan, which is what I use, to be able to clean your gold up and put it in a vial so you can ooh and ah over it. I like the ooh and ah part.
Yeah, me too. It's always nice when you have something you can ooh and ah at. I've watched how it flutters when it's working on the magnetics when using my own spin it off. And it's just like when you're using a regular magnet, like how in your kit you have for your fine gold recovery. That's why you pick it up, release, pick it up, release. Or you could hold it up a ways so your black sands magnetics have to go up to your magnet and a better chance of nothing getting locked up in it and being, like you said, misplaced.
Yeah, because we never throw anything away, so we never lose any gold. We just don't know where it is. Right. Yeah, but there's a lot of fun things happening on the market. There's a couple other pieces of equipment that I was noticing. Remember, speaking of Blue Bowl, there was a Steve Gribble had a gold lab. It was kind of like this huge contraption to use the Blue Bowl. Well, they've come out with a bumper like an automatic panner device. I just saw a video on that. So people are constantly thinking of cool stuff. Oh, there's another one. The gold spinner. It's a little it's an engine driven spinning.
I'm back. Lee Hershberger.
What's that?
Lee Hershberger.
Oh yeah, Lee. Yeah.
The little gold spinner.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's really cool that people are coming up with stuff and not just happy with just a sluice box. Like every piece of equipment out there's got a place that it excels, but there's so many missing places that new equipment is filling the gaps that we were just somewhat satisfied with, and it's like, well, we've got a little acceptable loss, which I think is probably the one of the funniest oxymorons out there besides military intelligence.
It's not the first time we've heard that tonight, huh?
Right.
No, that's the first time. He called me an oxymoron earlier. You're an oxymoron.
Actually, Mike, you might want to listen to next show then. On the 5th, if you're not busy, we're going to happen to have Lee Hershberger on from the Little Gold Spinner. Yeah.
Yeah, on the 5th. Yep. Yeah, well, good deal. Yeah, he's I like Lee. I met him at the shows, and we've struck up some pretty good conversations about some stuff. And he's a good guy. Yeah, he's a good inventor, and real honorable guy. So it's good. Of course, one of the things that I've noticed is a lot of the people in the mining industry are good, God-fearing, hard-working people. Just darn down to earth, good people, you know, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and that's when you join a club, you realize that the people you're actually dealing with are a whole lot different than your normal life, I guess. Uh,
The
so yeah,
average
it brings
Joe.
out. I don't know if it's the fact that you're all looking for the same thing, a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, or is it
Yeah,
just because people that tend to gravitate to doing stuff like this are pretty much the same type of people? They want to be left alone. I'll be friendly, you be friendly. I'll treat you the way you treat me, kind of people, as opposed to, all the drama queens and kings and all that, because I hate being around people like that.
well, one big advantage right off the bat is we're like-minded. We're all after the same thing.
I
Right. We're
took
all
the
the
words
same thing.
right out of my mouth, Dave. Mike.
Like-minded people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's a big advantage. I mean, that's as much of an icebreaker as it is um, as like if you're going down through a store someplace and you just happen to bump into somebody, what are you going to talk to them about? I mean,
And you think about it too. How many other things can you do where you can walk up to a guy and go, "Hey, man, you want to see my nuggets?" And he goes, "Sure." He goes, "Yeah, let me see your nuggets."
yeah, yeah, or walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, are you a gold digger?"
Yeah, right.
Yeah, hey, you want a dirt bag?
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
we would
all
think
of
that's
them will say yes.
Yeah, wow, you really like me.
Who's going to be helping you this year at Indianapolis, Mike?
Well, the same guy, Curtis George. He's a friend of mine from Royal Oak up there by Detroit, Michigan. He's going to come down and help me. It was funny. Last year he lost his voice.
Now,
So
he helped you at Dayton. It was Paul
Paul,
Sutherland that helped you at Nashville, right?
that's correct. Yeah, Nashville was Paul Sutherland, and yeah, he's my travel around mining partner, but he's handling a bunch of stuff here in Oklahoma, so he's kind of stuck here with family stuff. But yeah, Paul and I, we've gone a bunch of places. We've gone um, everywhere from rock climbing to get to those old truck rock climbers, with the almost flat tires.
Right.
Yeah, we've had to take those back into areas in Arizona to go out and get some gold, and we've gone back to. I've got a claim in California. It takes a couple hours to get back into it, but we've gone back in there, and he had a brand new vehicle, and I helped him get his first scratches on it.
There you go.
You got to get the first ones on there, then you're okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I used to live out in California. I lived in Nevada. I lived in Colorado. But I wasn't in the gold then. Even though when I was in Colorado, I was a friend of mine who was actually working a old gold mill just in Idaho Springs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, across from, what was that, the Aurora gold mine? Is that what that is up there at Idaho Springs?
I think it is the Aurora.
Yeah, well,
right
this
off Clear Creek.
right. This was across the street from it. It was an old tailings pile. They had a rock crusher there, and back in the day. And the guys that were working there were actually running the tailings there. They were crushing the rocks up and getting the gold out of it. And that was the first time I ever saw what I call wild gold.
Right.
Gold, wasn't store bought, wasn't salted. It's
Come in a
wild
dirt
stuff.
bag.
Right. Yeah. They come in a dirt bag.
Yeah.
But it was a mine, and I didn't find it, and I really didn't it didn't. I don't know. It didn't affect me in any way.
It
It
didn't
was cool.
catch the fever.
Right. It was cool. Oh, that's really cool. So that's what gold looks like. And that was it. I lived in California. I never even, even thought about that.
Right,
So,
right. Hey, this year I went up to Alaska for 6 weeks.
yeah, I heard that you were up there.
And
Yeah,
how
no.
was it?
Well, I tell you what, my wife and I, Pam, if people have called the 800 number, 800-649-0256, there's not very many people have a wife with an 800 number. No, she answers the phone
I know,
for.
I know she loves that joke. She
Yeah.
loves you telling that joke. Yeah.
But anyway, Pam and I, we actually went up to Chicken, Alaska, and for some of you, you may know, I panned my very first pan of gold in Chicken, Alaska in June of 2007.
Wow.
Okay, that was my very first pan of gold. So here it is, 10 years to the month, and I'm back in Chicken, Alaska again. And to that point, I had never found a nugget. Well, I found my first nugget in Chicken, Alaska, 10 years to the month later this year. So I've got my nugget.
Yay!
It's not a real big nugget or anything, but it's mine.
Well, if you can pick it up, it's big enough, right?
Exactly. Well, I found a couple of them. My first one was a 0.7 gram. And but the second one was actually, when you look at it, it's actually bigger than my first one. But it's only a 0.1 gram nugget. It's just so big and flat. But anyway.
Like a cornflake, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Almost as big, too. But here's the thing. When I went up to Chicken, Alaska, the very first time I panned my very first piece of gold, it was in a campsite there at the Gold Panner campground. And they brought in a bucket of dirt from their actual working mine. And the people who are registered at the campsite could go down there and pan all they want and keep the gold. So that's what I did. Well, this year, I actually went to Chicken twice. I was my first time was just kind of like ripping through Chicken. I was going to visit with Tony Beats, so I went and spent a day with Tony Beats up on his bucket line dredge and all that fun stuff. So that's a whole nother story. But after I was getting ready to go home, we were like on the crossroads. It's kind of like at the Great Divide. It's kind of like, do we go right to Haynes Junction or do we go left to Chicken? And we flipped a coin, and Chicken it was. So we went back up to Chicken. We had a couple extra days, so we went up to Chicken, and I talked to the park camp host, and I asked him. I said, "Can we, can we actually pan in Chicken Creek, or do we have to pan the or do we have to pan the dirt that you brought in?" The guy says, "Well, I don't know, but there is no gold in Chicken Creek. It's all been taken out years ago." And I says, "Has anybody tried?" And they said, "Well, yeah, but nobody's gotten any gold." And I said, "So it's okay if I try?" And I said, "If I find gold, can I set up my gold cube?" And he goes, "Well, how noisy is it?" And I said, "It's just battery operated." And he goes, "Well, I don't see any reason why not." And I said, "If there's a problem, just come tell me and I'll quit." So I went down there, I panned, and the first 7 pans, I got nothing. I got nothing whatsoever. And I was like, well, maybe they're right. So I started going deeper and deeper and deeper. And then finally I got this one layer that I pulled a scoop out, put it in the pan, and I got 5 nice pieces of gold. I mean, you could hold it at arm's length and you could see them just fine. And so I went down, I just went in that same hole, went a little bit deeper, and I had 7 pieces, and they're a little bit bigger. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is awesome. And so I did that, 8 or 9 times, and I got gold every pan out of this one layer. And So I went and showed Pam, and Pam was like, "Well, let's set up the gold cube and get to work." It's like, "Yes, ma'am."
There you go.
So,
Excellent. How was
so
your?
what's that?
Oh, I was just gonna say, how was your clean out?
Well, here's what we did. I set up the gold cube, set up the trommel, and everything that was coming off of the trommel, I had it dropping into a 5-gallon bucket. So when I filled up the 5-gallon bucket 3 times, a lot of material was going through the cube too. But when the bucket was full 3 times, I would spread it out on the shore and scan it with a metal detector. And so every time that I do the 3-bucket dump, I would clean up the first tray of the gold cube. And almost every time I did that, I'd have a gram or a little bit more. Once I had a little less than a gram. But that's the kind of cleanups I was having. And it was nice, chunky gold. And so we did that for 2 days and ended up with 26.1 grams of gold. And the nuggets that I found, I actually found with a metal detector on my tailing piles because they wouldn't fit through the trommel. So they were discharged into that bucket. So that's the importance of checking your tailings,
Yes,
making
sir.
sure that you don't get rid of any of that big gold. We don't want catch and release of any size. It's not like lobsters. The lobsters, it's got to be too small, you got to throw them away, and too big, you got to throw them away.
Yeah.
So we want to keep it all.
Actually, with the trommel I made, I also used the gold pan or the banjo pan as my safety pan in that.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
I just have the sluice tailings go into the pan, and the rest goes out the sluice, and then I check the banjo pan. So
Nice.
I love that pan. So many uses from the shop. It's my favorite cleanup sluice too, Mike. So
Yeah. But we sure had a good time up there in Alaska. I did some beach mining at the Kenai. I got on about 7 claims around the state that people invited me on.
nice.
I even did some right downtown Fairbanks. There's a river that goes through there. I actually got some gold out of that river right in downtown Fairbanks, and
No
just had
doubt.
an absolute blast.
Yeah, that's a trip I'd like to take one of these days. But
One of these days, I
one of
still
these days.
kick
I
myself
got
in the
the
butt.
time, just don't have the money.
Yeah,
I
and when
I
you got the
lived
money, you don't have the time.
right.
Right.
When
Yeah,
I
when I used
lived
to have
in
the money, I didn't have the
Washington, I
time.
wanted to get up there, but never made it. I'll get up there one of these days.
Well, but just you're gonna have to do it. Nobody's getting any younger. We're all getting
Oh,
older.
ain't that the truth, brother? I
I know.
hear you.
Hi
Mind if
there.
we take a quick break for my major sponsor, please? And
Yep, get her done.
okay, we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, with Mike Pung. All right, Mike, break's over.
Hey, how about that?
Are we back now?
We're back. We're back.
Okay.
Yeah, I put you on mute, and I was looking
Forgot.
at some of the comments to see if there's anything I had to answer.
You'll have to answer for all of it.
Sooner or later, huh?
Yeah.
I forgot. I had to like and share. I forgot to do that, so I just like to share it.
Good man, Jesse. Good man. I know Ronald's
Actually,
all on top.
actually, Ronald reminded me. Ronald reminded me. Thanks, Ronald. So, no, I didn't. I was looking too. I didn't really see anybody got any questions for Mr. Pung here. I know he's answered all your questions. I mean, anything from the gold cube to the meaning of life.
The meaning of life, yeah. It's volleyballs.
I knew it. I wasn't sure, but I knew it. So, all right. I guess I hear you have a joke.
You don't want me to tell a joke.
Your famous joke.
Well, I think the one
you could do a different joke here.
Yeah. Well, which one did I tell you guys? Did I tell you the one about the magician?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you a different one. Yeah, okay. I'll tell you a different one. Yeah. What chord does a piano strike when you throw it down a gold mine?
I don't know. What chord does a piano strike when you throw it down a gold mine?
A flat minor.
Flat minor.
A flat minor.
A flat minor.
It's a good thing you're an inventor and a prospector, Mike. You're not a stand-up comedian.
I really hope you didn't pay a whole lot for that.
No.
Oh, we like to tease you. It's fun.
Somebody asked, Ray asked, what is the max pump that run the gold cube with? And the biggest pump that I've put on there is a 2,000 gallons per hour. And the 2,000 gallons per hour is you don't want to put that directly into the gold cube, but if you're using an accessory like the gold banker or the trommel, then the 2,000 works pretty good. If you're using gas engine or something that's you think you may be bringing too much water into the gold cube, there's a little trick. It's a 10-inch dowel rod. You take a 5/8 inch dowel rod and cut it to exactly 10 inches. And then you roll it down the slick plate, and that's going to create a dam. And there's only going to be about an inch on the left and an inch on the right. That is going to be that's where the water is going to be able to get by it. So the water is going to start backing up, and it's going to get deeper and deeper and deeper in there. If the water gets so deep that it starts overflowing the outside edges, the bottom swoop on the side of the trays, then you have too much water. If it gets deep and stays contained, then you're still within the maximum limits. So that's one way to check if you've got it hooked up to a different water source that you don't know how many gallons you're using, like a gas pump or something like that.
Right.
So 10-inch dowel rod, drop it in there, and as long as the water stays contained, you're within the limits.
What size diameter on that dowel rod?
5/8. That's the size of the spot. Yeah. So that's a 5/8 is a pretty good. That's a pretty good damn rod.
Right.
We have a question from Robert Baffert. I guess he came in after you talked about it, maybe, Mike. But is Mike working on anything new for the gold cube?
Yeah, and what we had talked about is the exit sluice, and it's our accessory catcher. It's everything like the large, bigger than 6 mesh coming off of the trommels. Everything going into the gold cube normally is 8 mesh and smaller, but the trommel and gold banker are 3/16, which is actually a 6 mesh. And so anything larger than that is going into our oversized tailings or is discharged off the top of the gold banker or the trommel. And we're creating a exit sluice that will attach to the gold cube that will process those large tailings to make sure that you're not discharging any gold of the picker to nugget sizes.
Right.
Were
That's
you
good.
in on David's bucket flare for the cube at all? Did you help design it or anything?
Yes.
Okay.
He had,
You almost sounded like you didn't want to admit that.
well, I don't want to take anything away from Dave, that's all.
No, Dave's a great guy.
Yeah, he had done most of the work himself, and David loves plastic. And my part was helping convince him to go aluminum.
Really?
Yeah, because the plastic you can't get a strong enough joint on that, and it's going to break. And he was going to have too many warranty problems.
Where it hooks onto your frame you're talking about underneath that last lip.
Yeah, and all you got to do with a plastic one is like you're picking the bucket up and you snag it and you crack it. And the colder it is, the worse the problem becomes.
Right.
So,
right.
So by going with aluminum, when you go with the aluminum, it's like the instead of rivets and stuff, they're actually welded. So it's a really superior product that way. And there's never been a problem with it since he went with aluminum. So evidently I had enough clout that he listened to me.
Well, David's a wise man, so
yeah,
it
he
makes
is.
a lot of sense to me, you know. So it looked like it was an ABS material, and aluminum would be a lot stronger than an ABS plastic. That's for sure, especially in colder weather.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Razor wants to know. Go ahead.
I would say one of the reasons that we're not carrying it on our site is because what happens if somebody tries to get the cube over top of a 5-gallon bucket? They're at the top of the legs. They're at the top of their pump hose. They're using 1100, and now they're lifting so high they're not getting the right water pressure. When you start using the flare, you're going to kind of have to go to a bigger pump because of the head pressure that it forces you to create in your gold cube.
Right.
Yeah, Ray Warsaw Rusaw wants to know how many times you run into the needing a 4-stack unit. How often? And
well,
what would
I look at the 4-stack as the same as I do my 4-wheel drive pickup. Very rarely do I have to engage my 4-wheel drive, but I'm sure darn glad when I do need it and I've got it. All right, so that's my thought for the. But like I was telling you in that story with up there in Chicken, Alaska, the only thing I was cleaning out was my first tray. Okay,
Right.
And about every 3 or 4. Sometimes 5 cleanups, then I'd clean up the whole thing, and I wasn't finding much gold at the bottom. So, like I've always said, the first tray is going to capture 90% of your gold, and then the second tray down is kind of like your safety net. Okay, and that works good if your gold is more 3-dimensional, it's more aerodynamic. But, like on Lake Superior, that gold is so flat and the host material is so heavy that I generally only capture about 70% of my gold on the first tray, and I'll have as much as 9% of my gold on the 4th tray. So what I've always been telling people is, if your gold is closer to the source, chunkier, more aerodynamic, like if you turn it sideways and it doesn't disappear, then all you need is a 3-stack. But if you're into an area that the gold is like the cornflakes, real kitey, it's real flat, just hammered, then it's going to travel farther, and that 4th tray is farther, so you'll end up not using the 4-stack. So if you can afford the 4-stack, you only have to justify that cost once, and if you ever find any gold in that 4th tray, you're going to be glad you had it. But if you never find any gold in that fourth tray, then you've got a pretty good idea that you lost pretty much nothing. All right, nothing is perfect. You're always going to lose gold someplace, and but the farther down your system you don't find gold, the closer you are to the higher percentages, the triple digits.
Right.
I don't want to say
triple
100%.
digits. The triple digits. I got 101%.
Yeah. Yeah, I got 101. Have anybody ever got 100 and lose?
So Dennis Dayton says he runs a 5-stack. He says it might be overkill, but I always say measure twice, cut once.
Well, when I was up there with David up there on Cape Disappointed, we were actually running 6 stacks.
Yeah, I saw that one tower, man.
Yeah, there's 2 reasons for that. What I wanted to do was just I had some experimental mats we were using, and all I wanted to do was add 1 tray. But when you add 1 tray, it makes you discharge the wrong direction. So I had to add another tray.
Right.
To discharge.
Yes, that's true, because it's like they're opposite each other.
Exactly. Yeah, it's left, right, left, right, left, right. So I had to go with an even number, so 6-stack it was. And since I just happened to know where they're made, I had extras.
Ray wants to know if you got any cool tips for cleaning the mats out.
Yeah.
They're a bear to clean out.
Yeah, send them to me.
802 South.
And he'll send you new ones.
Right. Yeah, the more yellow.
Yeah, the yellow, the more yellow, the better, Ray.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah, what I do when I'm cleaning the cube out is, and I think if you look at my videos on how to train your gold cube, I actually show my 2-tub method for cleaning out the trays. I have 1 tub sitting inside another tub, both short tubs, and I spray with my pump. I put my thumb over the end of the hose, and I spray it out sideways, not the same direction as normally the water flows. That's that's straight up. I spray it from the sideways direction, so it's real easy for the water to get down inside. The vortex aren't created, and everything flushes out real easy. So what I do is I'll spray it spray it, and I'll flip the tray completely around, bottom to the top to the bottom, and spray it again. So I'm actually hitting everything in the trays from both directions, and then I flip it over again until I'm happy that it's clean. And it only takes 10 seconds, and you've got your tray cleaned out. So you have the pump, you have your battery, you got the water. Use the use the forces that you got there. Use the force, Luke. So yeah, I just put my thumb over the end of the black hose and spray away. And then as soon as you're doing that, the inside tub is overflowing into the bigger tub, and that's where your pump is. So you can spray and spray and spray and spray, and you have a constant supply of water, so you can work those mats over as long as you feel necessary, and you'll be able to have those clean. And just grab the next one and spray it out. And normally when I spray it out, just so I minimize the amount of spray that I'm creating, I actually hook the pump up backwards. I put the positive on the negative and the negative on the positive, and what that does, it'll still pump water, but only about half as much. And you can still get a pretty good powerful spray when you put your thumb over that, but you're not using so much water that it's splashing your gold out everywhere. You get it on your face, it's like man glitter, right?
Yeah, man glitter. But
that's the way that I do it. So once in a while, you'll see a few things stuck in there. You know, that perfect sharp rock that got stuck in the thing.
Oh yeah.
Either just reach in there with your finger and pick it out, or some people like using like a potato brush, or like Dan says he uses a little brush. You know, someone said that they're using a
Brush.
Mr. Lodock said he's using a toothbrush. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Only time I use a brush is like when I was getting the air bubbles out of the vortex matting, when I'm priming it. But when I clean your mat, I wash it one way, one side down, then I turn it the other way and wash it that way down, and just kind of repeat the process for a little bit. It don't really take me that long. But
Yeah, and that's one of the things you're going to find out when you've got your gold cube for a number of years, or a number of trips out, and your mats are going to start looking dirty. They're just going to start looking grungy. That's wonderful. I call that seasoned, because that little bit of film of dirt that just kind of stays with your mats, that actually wicks water very easy, and you can get your mats bubble free so much faster. So don't get in there and scrub your mats 100% clean, because that film of dirt, that little bit of dirt that just doesn't seem to change the contour of the mat. It just changes the color of it. It starts turning gray or a gray brown. That's actually going to help you get your mats faster wet, get the bubbles out of them. Right now with my mats the way they are, all I have to do to get the bubbles is I hold it on its side into the water. I splash it a few times and let the water run down the cracks of the mat. Just that little bit of action is all it takes to get the bubbles out, because my mat is dirty, and it will help wick the water and get you in business a lot faster. So those are the types of seasoning that will really help you out. I mean, so it looks ugly and dirty. So what? We're miners.
right.
Yeah.
We're pretty ugly, dirty people anyway, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's except for
keep
that
the bears
Banjo,
away.
Right?
Keeps the bears away.
Yeah. But that's as far as getting your mats clean. If you borrowed the gold cube from somebody, I can imagine you want to get everything clean. But if it's so big that it's stuck and it's your cube, and if it's so big that there's a piece of something stuck in there, you can tell if it's gold or not. If it's gold, pick it out of there. And if it's not, I mean, that's just less than 0.01% of one mat that's got stuff in it. I mean, you're not going to lose any gold. I mean, it may look, but it's not going to hurt anything, and it'll probably knock out the next time you run it anyway. So just don't worry about it. I never scrub my mats ever. A lot of people are working them over with a brush all the time, and it's like, well, that's a good way to wear them out. But even though people are working them over with a brush all the time, I still haven't had anybody wear their mats out, except one guy. He wanted to add some vibration to it, so he stuck an oscillating disc sander on it and wore the rubber clean out of it. But
We just put it right on the mat.
Oh,
Yeah.
gee whiz. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my
I tell you what,
goodness.
I've got some friends that could break a ball bearing. Bless their hearts.
I'm at your Banjo Pan Facebook page. The audience can see it now, maybe. I just came across a cool little, I'm gonna call it a gold lab with a banjo pan and a blue bowl.
Isn't that cool? I mean, the discharge from the blue bowl goes right into the banjo pan, and that runs kind of like on the same thing that you were doing as a cleanup sluice there, Ed.
Right.
Yeah,
I like that.
Isn't that cool? I mean, that just gives you one more chance to capture that gold that climbed up the cone on the blue bowl, and get it to capture without it going into all your tailings.
All right, this is my.
That's cool, man. One thing I love about us prospectors and miners, they're some of the most ingenuitive people I know. You know, you gotta,
we're like warped evil scientists.
Ain't that
most
the
people,
truth?
most people just think we're crazy.
Yeah, that too. I mean, I think that's in the thesaurus. Yeah.
The crazy person is a picture of Mike Pung.
Yeah. Got them crazy eyes.
Actually, there's a whole collage of you, of all kinds of crazy people in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
He just like, where's Waldo? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what it takes. It takes crazy people to come up with new ideas. It takes crazy people to have these weird thoughts and ideas that, well, wait, if I do this, is that going to work?
Yeah.
Bam, there it is. You know?
It's like who's the first person that thought about eating an egg after they seen where it came from?
Yeah, right. You know.
Of course, there's probably some corn mash involved with that decision, but yeah, but it's just a question of looking at things different and and not being satisfied with the normal way things are done, and all inventing is trying to find a better way of doing it, a funner way of doing it, or a faster way of doing it,
or easier way of doing it, or
yeah.
I mean, there's one of the products that Ed and I use. We use simply because we don't like carrying buckets anymore.
Oh yeah.
You know, I don't like carrying that half a full bucket of material over to the sluice when I can just run it right there in my bucket and I'm good. You know,
right.
So yeah, there's a lot of different pieces of equipment for different areas that you prospect in. You know, sometimes a sluice is the way to go. Sometimes a banjo pan, sometimes a dredge, sometimes a high banker, sometimes whatever you got. You know, piece of poop chute pipe.
But just because it looks simple doesn't mean that you need to not use it, because there's a story about the Apollo missions and everything, and they were coming up with a new way of being able to write underwater, upside down, zero gravity, and they spend hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars trying to come up with this specialized, Apollo mission outer space pen. Well, the Russian says, "Well, we just use a pencil."
There you go.
I knew it was the Russians.
They interfered with that, didn't they?
Yeah.
It's always those Russians, huh?
Darn. Yeah. Next thing you know, you're going to find them inside a nesting doll.
Gee, Dennis, are you asking if we're giving away something, or are you asking for us to give something away for you?
Oh, yeah, he was wondering if Dennis was offering, yeah.
Yeah. Is Dennis offering? Yeah, I'm not sure what he's saying, do you?
I think he wants somebody to win something. I think he's just being he's
instigator.
Yeah. He's the kid that got pushed out of the crowd to ask the question.
Yeah.
Well, Dennis, you should have been here when Chris Chadwick from East Coast Prospecting was here.
Yep, that would have been the night to be here. He was giving stuff away.
Yeah.
Oh no, Dennis. Oh, it's not my show. No, Dennis, we're not giving anything away. It's not what we're here for.
No. So anyone here, I'm gonna just come out and say it. If anyone's here just to win something, the exit's that away. We're just here to talk with a friend and fellow prospector and inventor, Mike Pung.
You may be right, Ray. I'll let you guys read that one.
Poor Dennis, he never gets to win nothing on Gold Prospectors Radio. So,
I know, poor guy.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we might have to do another giveaway for them some other time, like we did that one time, Jesse. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was fun. That was so much fun.
You know, for the guys at Prospectors Radio. So, yeah. But not tonight.
We'll give them a GPS hat or something.
Oh my.
Yep. So what's next?
No, I don't know. I'm about dead on this battery too.
Yeah. You have another phone?
No, my pad this time.
Oh.
I can't seem to get on Skype on my laptop, so that's got plenty of juice.
He's switching back and forth all over tonight, isn't he?
I am.
Jesse, he gets around.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Well, we're going on an hour and 44 minutes, Mike. If you have things you need to do, that's cool. If not, I'm sure someone in the chat room or something, we could come up with something. What's on your agenda for over the winter time?
Well, the winter time, just playing. I've been gathering a bunch of concentrates and bringing them home. So I got a bunch of gold I want to pull out. And usually when I'm pulling out gold, I'm thinking of new ways to do it. I've been trying to think of. Right now, I've got 63 inventions that I could be working on, but I don't talk about those until they're actually into something and some paperwork's been filed at some kind of a patent office, because I've seen too many times that loose lips sink ships. And
oh, I understand that.
Yeah, and keep it quiet until it's ready to come out.
That's it. So
understandable.
Well, it's just like when we did our right before the gold cube came out, we made a gold cube that had completely smooth sides. You couldn't see inside. You couldn't see anything happening inside.
Right, I remember that one.
We did our 1,000-pound test and everything, so we didn't want people to see what we were up to. There's an idea, but they couldn't steal anything from a black box.
Right.
But it's a lot of fun inventing stuff, and most of it just has to do with being able to try to make things work better that can be a better thing to do. So, and you just your brain starts working, and like I woke up in the middle of the night, and I got a pad, paper, and pencil right next to my bedside, because sometimes I'll dream of something. The other pad of paper and pencil is in the bathroom.
The other thinking spot.
The good old library.
Nobody bothers you there.
Yeah.
Right. To leave you alone.
Ray Russo was wondering, where are you mining the rest of the summer, Mike?
I don't have any place that I plan on going particularly for mining. I'll be my next show that I'm going to be out to is the AMRA show out there just east of Sacramento, and that's on the in September. I got to cheat and look at the map. The 23rd and 24th of September is the AMRA show. And the day after the Amherst show, I've got a friend that wants me to take me out to his claim. So I'll be out there someplace, someplace mining in California. I don't know exactly where. So, and then in October, we're going to be going to the Indianapolis show. I don't know if I'm going to be doing any mining up there, but I've got some things planned in North Carolina right before the Concord show. I'm actually going to be going out looking for megalodon teeth. I know it's not
cool.
It's sure fun to do. There's a show.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah. Tim Fisher and his buddies there go out. They've got a show. You may want to look it up. It's called Eastern Outdoor Expeditions. They do gold prospecting. They do megalodon teeth hunting. They test equipment. They do all kinds of stuff. A lot of outdoor stuff. Eastern Outdoor Expeditions. They're out of North Carolina. And
I saw something about that on one of your Facebook pages. Was it the Gold Cube Association page? I think it was.
No, I think it's my homepage, Mike Pung.
It could have been.
Yeah, Tim Fisher just posted a video on there of them having fun, getting some gold. But we're going to be getting after some megalodon teeth while we're out there. We're actually going to try using a gold dredge, a 4-inch dredge on moving material to find the megalodons. So that's going to be interesting. So we're going to be doing a video on that. It'll be part of one of his TV shows. Also, while I was up in Alaska, Tim and his wife Phyllis met with Pam and I up in the Anchorage and south down in the Kenai Soldotna area. And we did some climbing. We climbed up to a glacier, the Byron Glacier, to see if there's any gold exposed as the glacier receded. So we did some video on that. We also went out mining to a couple places and got some pretty good gold in a couple of spots. We went out with a guy named Tyler Van Leer, and Tylen is he's a fishing guide and also a prospecting guide. He's got the Alaska Fishing and Lodging in the Soldotna area. You can look him up. But so we did a lot of filming up there. We're going to be doing a lot of filming and prospecting down in North Carolina when we go there. And then after the show in Concord by the Charlotte area, we're going to go out and do some dredging with Todd Martin of Martin Prospecting.
Sweet.
Oh,
sweet.
That'd be fun.
So other than that, I haven't got anything planned.
North Carolina, some beautiful country. Jesse and I just had a trip down that neck of the woods, Georgia and North Carolina.
A month ago.
Yeah.
Month ago?
Yeah, a month ago or so. Had a good time.
Yep. Yeah, this then in the October time frame, we'll be able to be coming from the north to the south, and somewhere within that area, we'll find the fall colors at their peak. So it's always a pretty drive.
Oh yeah, I do that with my wife in the fall. We take a drive up into Michigan.
Yeah. Up into Michigan, you're looking at the end of September, first part of October.
Right.
When you get farther north up into Michigan, like from about 50 miles south of the Mackinac Bridge and then up into the Upper Peninsula, you start getting into the big hardwoods, a lot of the maples, and they've got some spectacular colors with the hardwoods.
We haven't gone quite that far. We've gone up to Traverse City and drove back along the shoreline. You know,
yeah,
and it was a fun drive.
Oh
fun
yeah,
time.
Yeah. Get some of that cherry wine there in Traverse City.
Yeah, and then we stopped at a place called Route 22 along coming back. That was the name of the wine.
Nice.
Oh yeah, really nice. Nice little towns around there. Nice fall colors.
So you got to be 21 to get a 22.
Mm-hmm. You got it. It was fun because you go in there, you do a bunch of wine tasting, and you drive away.
Yeah. Good luck with that. I'm not as thick as you drunk I am.
Well, Mike, it's getting late here. I've
Yep.
really enjoyed the show. I'm thankful, so thankful you came on.
Yeah, appreciate you
Means a
coming
lot
on.
to me.
Well,
And
I appreciate you having me. I enjoyed myself.
well,
I'm
I'm
glad.
glad you did. And
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing you in Indianapolis and everyone in the area. Come over to the Indianapolis show, October 21st and 22nd. Mike Pung will be doing a seminar on fine gold recovery uh, and be selling his cube, the gold cube, and the banjo pan.
Yep. Got any questions or any tips and tricks you need to help on? I'm there for you.
Yep.
Excellent. Excellent.
And I'll
Can't
even
wait to see you again.
What's that?
I said, can't wait to see you again.
Oh yeah. Can't wait to see you either. We'll try not to be so busy and have a little more time to talk.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to be busy again this year. I don't know.
Yeah.
One day, anyways.
That's our job, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I know you're a busy man, Mike, and I have to wake up at like 4:30, so and my job's not done yet tonight, and we're close to 2 hours.
Oh my!
No.
Seems like we just got started.
I hear you. Time flies when you're having fun and in good company.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
All
Time's fun.
we needed was a couple cold ones and a nice big roaring fire and a creek. That'd
Yep,
been fun.
time's fun when you're having flies.
Yep.
Well, maybe we could talk someone like Thomas Fowlkes or Dennis Dayton or someone local in the Indiana area or Patrick Moore, and we could take you out on the stream maybe while we're in Indiana.
Mm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hint, 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 hint.
Yeah, we're heading to these guys. Yeah. There's some nice spots around in Indiana where you're going to be, where the show is.
Yeah,
Nice,
not far, just a little south and around. I know Dennis Dayton and Thomas both have some good places.
Well,
And
let's hook up on Monday after the show.
there you go.
I'm inviting myself.
The heat is on, you guys.
Yep.
All right, Michael.
And Thomas says, remember, guys, the local clubs have tickets for sale, so look them up for the gold show.
Yep.
And
Okay, guys.
And they're usually a discount.
Good night.
All right, you too, Mike. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure talking to you. We'll see you in October.
All right. See you in a couple months.
All right, great. Thank you, Mike.
Yep. Good night, all.
Good night.
Bye.
All right. That was excellent. Mike's a great guy with such a great sense of humor. He was such a good guest.
Funny dude.
Yeah, I wish Dano was feeling better. He passed a stone and ended up in the hospital. Was in severe pain. Wish he didn't go to work today, so that's why he couldn't be with us tonight.
Yeah, I noticed that Marvin mentioned something about it on Facebook earlier.
Right. Other than that, we have Gold Rush Days. Anyone in the surrounding area of Ohio, come to the home of the Buckeye chapter at the Swank West lease property and along the beautiful Clear Fork River in Butler, Ohio. Come and talk to Jesse and I. We'll be there selling some products.
You forgot to mention that. You forgot to mention that the Gold Rush Days is brought to you by the Buckeye chapter of the GPAA.
that
Buckeye
too.
chapters maintains the swank, and
Right.
if you have not been to the swank yet, it's worth the trip. I mean, unless of course you live in California, then I'd stay there. But yeah, so yeah, come see us. Bring us your bucket of dirt too. You got that bucket of dirt. You're not sure if you want to get rid of it. We'll run it for you.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely be happy to run the dirt before you toss it in your garden or whatever, and see what can come out of it. Run it through the cube. So
Yep.
again, Michael in the chat room. Mike,
He's
thank you very
gonna
much
stick
for
around and
joining us.
yeah, he's gonna stick around and pick on people.
Oh, that's okay. Pick on Dennis. He
Yeah, pick
likes
on
it.
Dennis. Yeah, he likes to be picked on. He likes to pick his nose too, his butt.
All right, everybody. I have
I'll
things
tell
to
you what,
do.
it looked like Dennis had a really good time. I'm glad he was able to make it up there. And
Oh, to Roaring Camp? Yeah, looked like he
yep,
found some really good gold. Had a
yep.
great time. Uh, some of his pictures of Derek are questionable, but we won't go there. but the
Yeah,
gold
I
looked
hear you.
really fun. I tell you one thing: if I win the camp tickets this year, Jesse, we're not selling them.
We're not selling them. We'll figure out something, right?
We'll get there somehow, some way.
We'll start a GoFundMe page or something.
Yeah. There you go.
Or you're
Oh,
gonna have to work a lot of side jobs.
or something. I tell you, or something. You know. Might have to. I. This is my side job. This channel, but I
All
might
right.
have to do a roof or two or something.
Yeah.
Gotta keep it hidden from my accountant, though.
I know.
My brother in California, I saw he wanted me to call him after the show. Jim, I'll get on the buzzer with you after the show. Don't worry. Other than that, anything else you want to throw in there, Jesse?
No, not tonight. No, I'm good. Had a good time talking to Mike. Funny
Oh
guy.
yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, it was like I said, it was fun. We had a good time. He's
Right.
very informative. It's always good to learn new stuff. So
Yeah. And
I'm good.
be sure to join us on the 5th of September. We'll have Lee Hershberger from the Little Gold Spinner with us. And then on the 12th, we'll have Thomas Fowlkes, another YouTuber and Indiana gold prospector. So I hope to see you here. And on that note, I think we should wrap her up, brother, and
Wrap her up.
we'll have a busy week till Thursday when I head off to Gold Rush Days.
I hope I'm heading off the same day. I've got my fingers crossed.
And what else? My work's not done when I get done here, but there's stuff I gotta do till then. So Dennis, I want to hear some good stories about Roaring Camp when I see you at the Swank West property this weekend, along with our good friends from Prospectors Radio. I think that's about it, huh, brother of another mother?
I think so. So good night, everyone. Have a pleasant evening.
Yep. For just a quick bit, we'll be back next week, same time, same channel. Until then, may you always have a flash in your pan.
You know what he always says.
Maybe one day too. We'll see you on the river. Oh, man.
Still hear us?
Yeah, only way they can. My two jokes on, they don't hear nothing.
No.
They're hearing us. Thank you all.
Still hear us? Finally cut us off. Oh, they can still hear us. So we can keep talking.
Live. Five, four, three, two, one.